What's this? That's not Oracle of Seasons Cursed. No, it's not. Welcome to my second Let's Play. Originally, I was intending on not making a second Let's Play until my first one was done, but something changed that. As you may or may not know, today is February 14th, which means it is Valentine's Day for one. It is also the Christian Sabbath, and it is the 25th anniversary of Lemmings. For those of you who are not familiar with Lemmings, Lemmings is basically a very old puzzle game that was made in 1991. It was wildly popular. It got ported to almost everything at the time. Like, you'll be hard-pressed to find a computer or a system or a console of any kind that was around in the early 90s that Lemmings is not on. And this is actually one of the very first games I have memory of playing. So it's a game that's very near and dear to my heart. And I really wanted to make it for my second Let's Play, or at least one of my earliest ones. And hey, it's the 25th anniversary of Lemmings, so it's the perfect opportunity to play it. So, you may be wondering what version of Lemmings I'm playing. I'm actually playing the version of Lemmings for SuperLemmini, which is basically a not a search engine, but a Java application that is designed to run Lemmings and as well as other Lemmings packs. So if we go to play level here, you'll see we've got a lot of options. We've got Lemmings, we've got Oh No More Lemmings, which is kind of like the first sequel to the game. We've got Xmas Lemmings 1992, Holiday Lemmings, Kovacs Lemmings, Lemmings Companion, and then these two are actually level packs that I myself have made. I might be exploring them in a later time. But we'll be doing Lemmings, so it says there are 5 difficulties here. I probably won't be covering the bonus levels because those were not in the original game. But I will be covering Fun, Tricky, Taxing, and Mayhem, which are the 4 difficulty ratings. And the Lemmings is a really hard game. Like, it's going to be super easy at first, but once we get to like the Taxing levels and the Mayhem levels especially, things are going to get crazy hard. So the reason I like playing on SuperLemmini is it gives you a lot of precision. Like, that you can do things in this engine that you can't in the main games, which can let you basically give a lot more precision when you're playing the game, which makes a lot of the levels a lot easier. It also supports custom levels and custom music. So I would strongly recommend getting either SuperLemmini or regular Lemmini for if you want to play Lemmings for the first time. I would also recommend at least buying a hard copy of the game, just to say you have it, because it's pretty easy to find and it's relatively cheap, and this is just a great game. So I hope you guys enjoy this, and enough talk, let's play. So we're doing Lemmings, Fun Level 1. Just dig. There are 10 Lemmings, and we have to save 10%. For those of you who are not good at math, that basically means we only have to get 1 to the exit. And it's got release rate of 50. I'll explain what that is on level 3, and then we got 5 minutes to do it. So let's start. Alright, so if there's one thing that Lemmings is well known for, it's its music. And this is actually not my favorite version of the music. My favorite is the Microsoft DOS version, but unfortunately I can't properly record my DOSBox emulator. It messes up the colors a bit too much. Plus, I kind of wanted to do a Let's Play of Lemmings on a version that's not commonly done. I didn't find any done on SuperLemmini, so this is good enough. This music you're hearing is from the Amiga Lemmings, which is the very first but the very first thing Lemmings was released for. So you'll notice Lemmings just walk around until they hit a wall, then they turn around and walk the other direction. They can walk over small hills, but when they hit a wall, they'll turn around. So at this rate, they are never going to get to the exit, but this is where this lower area comes in handy. These are our skills that we can assign Lemmings. These right here, the only ones we have, are diggers. If we make a Lemming a digger, surprise, he digs through the ground. And he keeps digging until he burrows completely through the ground, in which case he'll fall and start walking in the same direction he was when he started digging. So very simple level thus far. This is our release rate. I'll get more into that on level 3. These paw prints symbolize the pause button. This is the nuke button. We're going to get into that in level 3 as well. Pushing this will fast forward the Lemmings. You can also push F in order to do that. And then this, as far as Lemmings goes, doesn't really do anything. I think that has purpose in Lemmings 2, The Tribes, which I don't have. But yeah, we rescued 100% and we only needed 10%. And also, SuperLemmini also gives you a score of points based on how well you did, based on how many lemmings you saved, as well as how long it took you to beat the level. So, superb. You rescued every Lemmings on that level. Can you do it again? Also, Lemmings, the original Lemmings supported a password system where basically you would have to write down this password and then go to, like, enter level. Type in the password just to get to level 2, but SuperLemmini and regular Lemmini save your progress. So once we've unlocked level 2, we can just select it from the play level menu. This also has replay, where basically once you beat a level or if you fail a level, you can push the replay option and it'll basically replay exactly what you did up to that point. And it's really helpful for, like, oh, you screwed up one thing at the very end. You can just replay all the stuff you did, but change that one thing at the end. We might get into that a bit later. Hopefully we won't. We can also save our replays for later use, but that's the general gist of it. So, level 2, only floaters can survive this. Like, once again, 10 lemmings, you only have to save 1, 5 minutes, 50 release rate. Uh-oh. I did not mean to do that. Oh well. See, now we don't have to put in a password. Yeah, I pushed menu instead of start level. Alright, so you'll notice that's a pretty high place to drop. Let's watch what happens if a lemming falls down that. They die. However, if we make them a floater, they will get an umbrella, which will allow them to float to the ground. So floaters are very useful because, like you can see, they can go down drops that would normally kill them, but they'll still survive. And you can even make them a floater right before they touch the ground, and as long as you make it before they splat, they'll still survive. Also, an important thing to note, if a lemming is a floater, they fall more slowly than lemmings who are not floaters, which is important to know. Not really in this game, but in other custom level packs. And also, fun fact, if a lemming is a floater, they can actually enter the exit if it's literally a mid-air exit and there's no ground beneath it. Normal lemmings would not be able to do that, but lemmings who are floaters can. So that's pretty interesting. Onward to level 3, tailor-made for blockers. 50 lemmings, 10% to be saved. And this is the level we're actually going to get into release rate and the nuke button. So these are blockers. If you make a lemming a blocker, he will stop, and lemmings who touch him will turn around. So it's basically like making a wall. So blockers are very unique in that once you make a lemming a blocker, it is very hard to get him to stop being a blocker. In fact, there's only really one way to make him literally cease to be a blocker and just carry on like normal, and we'll be covering that much, much later in the game. Normally, you just have to blow them up, which we will show at the end. So once we make these lemmings blockers, we have beaten the level once all these lemmings come out. So this is where the release rate comes into play. It's at 50, and basically the higher the release rate, the faster lemmings come out. So if we hold this down, you'll notice that lemmings are coming out a lot faster. If you double click the plus button, it'll max out the release rate, and look how fast the lemmings come out. This button over here is the minimum release rate. This is the what the release rate starts at the start of the level, and you can't make the release rate go lower than that number. So we can't make it go lower than 50, as you can see. 1 is the minimum release rate, 99 is the max. And on that note, pretty much all of the lemmings are done, but these lemmings right here, who are the blockers, will still be around, and the level will not exit unless all of the lemmings are off the screen. So here's where the nuke button comes into play. You have to double click it, and all the lemmings will get a timer above their heads, and guess what happens when it reaches 0? They all explode. So that's a fun little gimmick. So that's introduced us to blockers, release rate, and the nuke button. And we absolutely stormed that level, so let's continue on. It's level 4. Now use miners and climbers. This time there are 10 lemmings, but we have to save all of them, and a release rate of 1. So you'll watch how slowly the... Dang it, I did it again! I need to stop doing that. Alright, so we're going to see how slowly lemmings come out. And we're also working with 2 new tasks this time instead of 1. So what does a miner do? It's kind of like a digger in that they dig downwards, but they also dig downwards at an angle. They're also the slowest digging type skill in the entire game. And it's important to note, lemmings can go up and down the climber not the climber staircase, the miner staircase. So there will be several levels in the game where we will have to mine downwards so Lemmings can walk up the miner tunnel to a new area. And now the exit's out of our reach. The Lemmings cannot get there right now. However, this is where the climber comes into play. I didn't mention it with the floaters, but when a Lemming is a floater, they will be a floater for the rest of the level until they either die or until they get to the exit. Same with climbers. When a Lemming is a climber, every time they touch a wall, they will try to climb it. And they will keep climbing until they either reach the top like that Lemming did, or if they hit the ceiling above them. And it can even just be a 1-pixel ceiling, and they'll still hit their heads and fall down. So you do need to be cautious about making Lemmings climbers and not making them floaters, because sometimes they can climb up a wall and then hit the ceiling, fall down, and that fall will be too high for them to survive. Also, if you make a Lemming a climber and a floater, that Lemming thereby becomes an athlete. That is what the game will call them. So if I refer to making a Lemming an athlete, I mean make them a climber and a floater. I will probably talk about this again when the time comes. But for that moment, the Lemmings are on their way to the exit. Also, in other versions of the game, that green acid will not be at the bottom of the screen. It's normally just a black abyss beneath it. Alright, so we did that level pretty much perfectly. Onward to the next level. You need bashers this time. 50 Lemmings, only I gotta save 10%. And I love these levels. Oh my gosh. The blue crystals, even though there's like 3 colors used for this level, this like tile set. Whoop. So these are bashers. Bashers are the third digging and final diggings tool in the game, where they just go in a straight horizontal line. Bashers are probably one of my favorite skills to use, just because they're very simple and effective. Also, for those of you who can't tell, this is Dance of the Little Swans. Most of the Lemmings music is public domain, very few of it is actually unique. So this is kind of annoying. This is where the bashers kind of fail. If you bash, but then you get like the floor disappears beneath you, you will stop bashing like that. However, if you bash on the ground, you will do this. Also, fun fact about bashers, you'll notice that they had stopped, there was no like ground left for them to destroy, but they still kept on bashing. Bashers will only check if they should continue bashing on every other bash. So, like on the first one, if they bash through it immediately, they'll stop. But if it takes 2 bashes to get through it, it'll actually take 3. I know I'm doing a terrible job of explaining this. I'll probably explain it on another level where it actually matters. Yeah, but as I was saying, the levels in this are just beautiful. I'll max out the release rate. You'll notice there, I didn't actually click on that, but I still increased it. Lemmings actually has hotkeys, the F keys, F1, F2, F3 through F10, not F10, through F12 are hotkeys. F1 decreases the release rate, F2 increases the release rate, F3 gets you a climber, F4 floater, F5 that, which we will find in the next level. F6 is blockers, F7 is that, F8 is bashers, F9 is miners, F10 is diggers, F11 is pause, and F12 is nuke. And also the F key, not like F1 or F2, but literally the physical F key will fast forward the level. Alright, so now we're onward to level 6. We are making great progress. A task for blockers and bombers, and there's lava at the bottom of this stage. In the DOS version, there is no lava there. 50 Lemmings, gotta save 20%, and we've got 5 minutes. So this introduces us to a new skill and an old skill. So we've got blockers, and we've also got bombers. Bombers are basically like the nuke button, only for 1 Lemming. The timer counts down from 5, and when it reaches 1, the Lemming there will blow himself up, as well as blowing up all the ground around him. So that's how we're going to get through this level. So now we could perfectly time the Lemming, so that way when we set the bomber, it'll reach 0 right there. But that's a bit tricky, so we're going to make them a blocker and then blow them up, which gives us a lot more precision. Rest assured, we will eventually, on later difficulties, be repeating levels like this where we'll have to actually use the walking bomber without the aid of a blocker. Spoiler alert. Also, I meant to talk about this in the last level, but there's too much other stuff to talk about. Lemmings has several tile sets, so this is the Hell tile set, or the Fire tile set. The last one was the Crystal tile set. We've also seen the Gold Pillar tile set, the Marble tile set, and the Dirt tile set. And up next is level 7, which is another Marble tile set. It's Builders Will Help You Here. So we've got 50 Lemmings, got to save 50%. And this is the last true tutorial level in the game. This is where we work with builders, and this is the most important skill in Lemmings. You will be using builders a lot. So what does a builder do exactly? You build a bridge on an upwards diagonal. Because most of the time, climbers are not going to be able to get all your Lemmings up certain ledges. Like here, we don't have any climbers, so we're going to need builders. So up here, we've got this pit down here. To avoid for Lemmings falling in the pit, just have them build their own bridges across. You've got enough builders to do it. Even, like, you can let your Lemmings fall in that pit. It's not going to make you fail the level, because you only need to save so many Lemmings. I like to save as many Lemmings as I can. They live hard lives. And increase. Oh, I maxed out the release rate. Also, one thing that is important to note. In Lemmini and SuperLemmini, and this is not in any of the other games, like the official games, you can actually assign Lemming skills while they're paused. You can't do that in other Lemmings games, like the DOS version, the Amiga version, the NES version, the Super NES version. You can't assign tasks while the game is paused, which makes it a bit tricky. And also, another interesting aspect of Lemmini and SuperLemmini, you can select Lemmings in a giant group like this that are going in a certain direction by holding the arrow keys. So if you hold the left key, it will only highlight Lemmings that are moving to the left. If you push the right arrow key, it'll only highlight Lemmings going to the right. And if you push the up arrow key, it will only highlight Lemmings that are like walkers and not climbers, floaters, or athletes. That will be important later on. And on that note, we've beaten all 7 tutorial levels, and I think that's a pretty good spot to stop, because I've done a lot of talking this video. And I feel like the episode's going on long enough, and that's a great place to stop. So next time on Lemmings, we will be conquering not the rest of the fun levels, that's going to take a while, but we're going to at least beat a few more levels, and introduce us to the fact that certain skills, when coupled together, can accomplish interesting tasks. And also, it may be Valentine's Day, but even if you're alone, just know you're not alone, alright? I'm out there rooting for you, God's out there rooting for you. And you may be lonely, but I would encourage you just to get together with your friends today. That's what I'm doing, because I'm not in a relationship. But on that note, I'm Colorful Arty, hope you're enjoying the series so far, and I'll see you next time. Have a great day, and God bless.